Good morning, Rick. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Keith. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. You ready to get to it?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. In our last podcast or the last time that we met, you mentioned something about career and how some people are at the effect of their career. And so I thought the topic of this podcast would be, do I have a career or does my career have me? So you want to start us out off on that?
Sure. I'm probably a Class A example of someone who went overboard for many years in my life with my career to the detriment of my own personal health, the health of my marriage, my relationship. And looking back on it, it took me a long time to climb out of that, and I'm still climbing. I mean, part of the problem that you have when you're in a business where you're the sole entrepreneur and the buck stops with you is you wearing many hats. You have to do everything, and so it's an easy way for you to continue on that rat wheel and not pay attention to the rest of your life. So for years, my career had me. I didn't have it. And it wasn't until maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and I'm talking now in my late 60s, after most people had retired, that I finally got the picture that if I continued to have that attitude, that all of the things that I was neglecting in my life would shrivel and die, including relationships, including, excuse me, it's including the problems that I have personally, such as anxiety and guilt about not getting enough things done because I'm not getting to the gym and I'm not taking care of myself and I'm eating the wrong foods and I'm drinking booze and I'm having too much coffee. All of that, those detriments start to outsize the who you are, and they actually become really what you have become. So I made a conscious decision about 5 or 6 years ago to really look inside of myself and figure out why I was doing it. I don't know really exactly why I was, except that I think when you're committed to something, you go overboard or can. When you're in a demanding profession, and that's everybody's in a demanding profession. I don't care if you're a carpenter, you've got things that are asked of you all the time that put pressure on you, that constantly grate on you. I'm lucky because I don't have a boss. Most people have several layers of bosses and they have to satisfy all of them. And I don't know how people do it. My point is that the boundaries that I began to set had to do a lot with coming more into myself. And here's one little trick that I did. I had to say to myself, I'm going to die. I'm going to really die if I continue doing this. And I don't care if you're 45 or 65. The more you spend time in anxiety and guilt and worry and at the effect of external circumstances, the more likely it is that you're not going to be healthy. And the more likely it is that that lack of health will lead to something catastrophic, including death. So I made a decision in my late 60s that I wasn't going to do that anymore. And here's what I've decided to do instead. The gratitude practice is enormous. And we always talk about how important that is for each of us. I turned that gratitude practice into a reflection of gratitude for me. And here's how I do it. I still struggle with anxiety, guilt, and all the other pressures everybody else has because I'm still working. But I turned that around by every day, particularly in the evening, I talk to my body. And I say, if I have a sore knee, let's say, or if I have, if I feel like I had heart palpitations because I was so scared in court about something that happened, I put my hand over my heart and I would talk to my heart. I do this every night, and I say something like, "Man, you're really having a tough time right now, and I appreciate how many days and nights all of my life you've been there for me and never asked anything for me. And we're in support of you." And by saying we're, I'm talking about my whole body. We're in support of you. You take a little bit of a break. We'll pick up the slack. It's going to be great. And then I say 4 words that are always important before I conclude the gratitude of whatever body part I'm dealing with that I think is hurt or needs extra love. And I say, it'll all get done. It will all get done.
Yeah.
5 words. And so between the idea of giving love to myself and my body parts, which sounds goofy, but if you try it, you'll see, and also being secure in the knowledge that because it will all get done. And I know it will because I've always never failed to get it done. Those two things have really helped me manage my career stresses. And one last point, the epilogue to all of this is I kept thinking that, okay, I'm in my late 60s. Now I'm about to be 75. Okay, I'm still working by choice. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should just hang this up because all of those externals would go away. I wouldn't have to worry about demanding clients. I wouldn't have to worry about aggressive lawyers on the other side reaming me out every day or arguing with them all day, or judges that don't rule in my behalf and are ruling against me and I'm losing cases. I mean, all this stuff that you really hate, or paying too much money on a case, advancing costs and nothing's coming in. Okay, those are all externals. And I thought to myself, well, I've been doing this 40 plus years. Why don't I just call it a day? And then I remind myself, you can't run away from the external. There's going to be, if I quit, tomorrow I'll have the same anxiety, guilt, and worry about paying my taxes or something that is completely unrelated to my pressure I'm feeling at work. So I felt like the best way to handle it was to go through it, to develop a strategy for dealing with it, because it's never, ever going to end. And eliminating this problem, my career having me, is not going to mean I'm going to be worry-free. It just means that space will be filled by another problem that my mind will create, that my worry and guilt and anxiety will start taking a toll on. So I needed to handle it, and that's what I did.
Wow, Rick, that's beautiful. I don't have much to add, man. You said it so beautifully. And I love what you said, that it will all get done. Isn't that the truth, right? It will all get done. And that just really resonated with me. I feel the exact same way. When I feel myself getting worked up over something going a certain way, I'm like, well, hold on. Like, I'm the boss in here.
That's right.
What happened here? When did my mind, sign this deal with my career that I'm at the effect of what it says? Like, no, like, so I let go of that and say, why are you getting worked up? Like, let all of that go, keep the main thing the main thing. And that is working on myself, who I'm being as I go through whatever it is. If it's at work, if it has to do with my career, just work on that. And then I can take those skills, for lack of a better word, that way of being, and I can apply it to everything. Now that's useful, just like you said, to take that learning and apply it to every other thing, because if it's not your career, it'll be something else. I know people that are retired who's done exactly what you said. I heard them in the last few years just go on and on about how they've had enough. I'm gonna leave this for you guys to deal with this. I'm out of here, the whole 9 yards. And you know what they're worried about now? Missing those paychecks.
Yeah, that's right. Another set of external problems.
Exactly, man. But had they dealt with the career, the piece inside about the negative narrative about the career, or being in the grip of the career, and being at the effect of it, like you said, the career having them, they applied it there, then they would be retired and not worried about money, but they didn't. So now they're worrying about that. And I'm like, that's one way to do it. so Rick, you want to close this out with
I think it's sort of a repetition on the themes that we cover all the time. But the main theme for me is always coming back to the idea that you can never control the externals, the stuff that hits you, deaths, breakups, anxiety from the career, bills that don't get paid, heavy taxes. If you got $1 million in the bank, you're worried because you need 5. All of those grinding things that turn you into dust if you're not careful. Okay, all of those are externals. And the bottom line is always, you can't control the externals. It's like a giant fan blowing dust into your face. It's always going to be there. Always. You're never going to get rid of it as long as you're alive. But what you can control is how you deal with those things that come at you, what your attitude is about them. And people say, well, how can you feel anything other than what I'm feeling because of this? No, that's a choice. That's a choice. And until you face up to that and recognize that you're choosing the stuff that causes you anxiety, you'll never get on the other side of it. And I don't know how how to be any more precise about it, based on my own experience, but to say that when I discovered that I have the ability at every opportunity to choose my attitude, and that I can assess whatever importance, I can give whatever importance I want to whatever's affecting me, I have control over that. Until I realized that, I was always at the effect of somebody else's opinion, of my tax situation, my, whether I'm winning or losing at work, all silly.
It's all silly. You said it, Rick. I love you, man. Thank you so much.
I love you, Keith. Take care, man. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.